Hi, everyone, and welcome to Quiet Conversations in the Kitchen. This is a podcast about real life, small moments, and honest reflections shared in simple, natural English.
Yes, here we talk slowly and thoughtfully about everyday experiences, change, and finding comfort in ordinary things. This space is here to help you listen, understand, and feel at ease with English, without pressure.
When I think back now, I realize that I expected adaptation to feel more visible. I thought one day I would wake up and feel confident, settled, and sure that I belonged here.
I had the same expectation, and that's probably why I felt disappointed for a long time.
Right.
Nothing like that happened, and instead, everything changed very quietly, almost without my permission.
Yes, it was so subtle that I didn't trust it at first. I kept thinking that if it felt this ordinary, it couldn't be real adaptation yet.
Exactly. We were taught to look for big signs, not for calm, but calm turned out to be the real signal.
In the beginning, calm felt suspicious to me. I was so used to being alert that relaxation felt like I was missing something important.
That constant alertness stayed with me for months. Even in the evenings when nothing was happening, my body was still tense.
Evenings were the hardest for me. During the day, I could stay busy, but in the kitchen at night, there was nothing to distract me from how unfamiliar everything felt.
Yes, the kitchen made it very clear that this was my real life now. Not a trip, not a temporary phase, but an everyday reality.
I remember avoiding that realization for a while. I would eat outside or order food just to spend less time alone in that space.
I did that too, and I think it was a way of protecting myself. Cooking meant slowing down, and slowing down meant feeling things I wasn't ready to feel yet.
Exactly. At some point, I got tired of avoiding it, not because I became brave, but because I didn't have energy left to keep running.
That tiredness was important. It forced us to choose simpler ways of living.
For me, that's when food changed its role. It stopped being something creative or social and became something supportive.
Supportive is the right word. I stopped trying to cook well and started cooking in a way that made me feel steady.
Simple meals, familiar tastes, no experiments. It wasn't exciting, but it was reliable.
Reliability mattered more than pleasure back then. Knowing exactly what the food would taste like gave me a strange sense of control.
Yes, control in very small doses. When everything else felt uncertain, those small certainties were enough.
I also noticed how warmth became important. Warm food, warm drinks, even staying longer in the kitchen just for the heat.
That's interesting because I felt that too, but never named it. Warmth felt grounding in a way I really needed.
I think the body looks for safety before the mind does. Warmth, fullness, familiar movements all speak directly to the body.
That explains why tea became such a strong anchor for me. Making it every evening was a signal that I was allowed to stop.
Yes, a clear ending to the day. Without that, days felt unfinished, like they were leaking into each other.
I remember how comforting it was to repeat the same actions, boiling water, choosing the same cup, sitting in the same place.
Those repetitions slowly built rhythm, and rhythm made the days feel less chaotic.
At the time, I didn't think of it as building anything. I just knew that evenings felt a little less heavy.
That's how it works, I think. Comfort grows quietly, without announcements.
Do you remember when you first noticed that the city stopped feeling hostile?
Yes, but it wasn't a clear moment. I just realized one evening that I wasn't watching everything around me anymore.
That's a big change. Being able to relax your attention like that takes time.
It does, and it happened after months of very ordinary days. Nothing special, just repetition.
I had a similar experience with walking home. One day I noticed that my body knew the way without thinking.
Those moments feel small, but they change how you relate to the place. Suddenly, it's not something you have to manage anymore.
Yes, it becomes a background instead of a challenge, and that frees a lot of mental space.
Mental space was something I missed the most after the move. Everything required attention.
Exactly, and that's why small routines were so valuable. They didn't require decisions or emotional effort.
I think that's when I started trusting myself again. Not because I felt confident, but because I felt consistent.
Consistency is underrated. It doesn't look impressive, but it creates stability over time.
Looking back, I see that comfort didn't come from feeling happy here. It came from knowing how to live here.
That's such an important distinction. Knowing how to live is very different from loving the place.
And the much more realistic, love can come later or not come at all.
Yes, but comfort is enough to build a life. It gives you a base.
The kitchen became that base for me. It was the only place where I didn't feel like a guest.
I relate to that deeply. The kitchen didn't judge my accent, my mistakes, or my tiredness.
It allowed silence, and silence slowly stopped being scary.
At first, silence felt empty. Later, it became neutral, and then even comforting.
Neutrality was a big step. It meant I stopped fighting my reality.
Yes, and that fight was exhausting. Once it stopped, I had energy for other things.
That's when I noticed that evenings were no longer about recovery. They were just part of my life.
Now, when I sit here, I don't think about adaptation or integration. I think about how my day was.
That's a sign of belonging, I think. Not excitement, but ease.
Ease that comes from knowing yourself in this context, knowing what helps and what doesn't.
And accepting that small things are enough, that you don't need constant progress to feel okay.
Looking back, I feel respect for that earlier version of myself. I didn't rush, even when I felt pressure to.
Yes, we allowed ourselves to move at a human pace. That's not easy in a new country.
No, it's not, but it was necessary.
And those small, everyday things carried us through, quietly, without asking for attention.
Now, they're still here, but they feel lighter, like a habit that became part of who we are.
Exactly. Comfort didn't disappear, it just blended into life.
And that might be the best outcome we could have hoped for.
I think so too.